Gemini, if you're hearing this, it's probably not a coincidence. Maybe you've just scrolled past hundreds of videos, but something made you stop. Not out of curiosity, but because a deeper part of you recognized a familiar call. Maybe it was your heartbeat quickening when you read the words, "Something is coming," or the subtle feeling that someone is watching not with eyes, but with energy. This November, the universe is sending you a call, not a regular one, but a message to the part of you that's been asleep for too long, the part that knows you were born to see what others can't, to connect the fragments of this world through intuition and intellect. If lately you've felt that something is shifting, though you can't quite name it, if your mind feels too loud while your soul has gone quiet, that's the first sign. Don't ignore it, because not everyone can hear when the universe whispers, but you can. And maybe this video is the frequency you just happened to tune into, where every word isn't merely spoken, but transmitted directly from the layer of energy you're vibrating with right now. So, take a slow breath. Grab your favorite cup of tea or coffee and sit with me, because what comes next may just change the way you see your entire life. Gemini, if right now you can feel the gentle yet powerful pulse of this signal, leave a comment that says, "I hear the call." Hit like and subscribe, so this energy knows you're listening. Part 1. The Cosmic Signal. When silence speaks in code. Gemini, have you ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something, but in a language you haven't yet learned? A strange dream repeating over and over. A still moment, when you look out the window and your heart suddenly sinks, as if time itself paused for 1 second to deliver a message. Or maybe someone you thought was gone suddenly appears in your mind for no clear reason. You try to explain it with logic, but deep inside, something softly whispers, "Don't try to understand, just listen." This November, Gemini, you're stepping into the Mercury-Pluto activation, a rare energetic gateway. Mercury, your ruling planet, the god of intellect, words, and communication, is meeting Pluto, the planet of depth and transformation. When these two forces align, every shallow thought is stripped away. Every word you hear, speak, or think becomes deeper, truer, and impossible to ignore. So if your mind feels unusually loud lately, it's not random. You're receiving a signal, not from the outside world, but from your soul, the part of you that's been waiting too long to be heard. Gemini has always been the soul of language, the storyteller, the connector, the translator of emotions into meaning. But this time, the universe doesn't want you to speak, it wants you to listen. Because sometimes silence itself is a conversation, a dialogue between you and your higher self. Do you remember the last time you sat in silence for a long while? No phone, no music, no small talk. Silence can be frightening, because it forces us to face the questions we'd rather avoid. But this November, it's within that silence that your soul's codes begin to glow. The dreams, coincidences, fleeting thoughts, they're all speaking to you in a language older than words. You're decoding the universe without realizing it. And that's exactly what's happening, Gemini. You're deciphering the cosmos every time you pause long enough to feel. As Mercury, your planet, dives deep into Pluto's realm, it opens inner doors you once locked shut. Old emotions, unresolved connections, forgotten dreams, they begin to surface. Not to weaken you, but to remind you that everything left unsaid is still seeking to be heard. You see, Gemini has always been twofold. One side, curious, logical, expressive. The other, intuitive, emotional, profound. This November, those two sides finally meet. The mind and the soul are no longer in conflict, They start to converse. And in that sacred dialogue, you'll realize something simple, yet life-changing. Nothing outside is happening to you. You are what's happening to the world. When you begin to listen deeply, small miracles unfold. The coincidences you once dismissed start to make sense. Repeating numbers, 1111, 222, a song playing the exact words you needed, a fleeting glance that stirs your heart. All are ways the universe whispers, I'm still here. November doesn't come to frighten you. It comes to awaken the intuition you've suppressed. The energy is whispering, it's time for you to hear yourself. And once you start listening, everything else begins to change. Trust that feeling, because what you're hearing isn't an echo of the past. It's the first sound of a new beginning. If something inside you is resonating, even just for a heartbeat, type, I hear the call in the comments. It's not just a message to yourself. It's a signal to the universe that you're ready. And don't forget to like this video to stay tuned to this frequency. And subscribe so we can continue this journey together, where every breath, every pause, carries a message, waiting for you to decode. Because sometimes, the most powerful messages don't arrive as thunder. They come in silence, the way the soul calls you home. Part 2. The Awakening Frequency. Truth in Disguise. Gemini, sometimes the world's silence isn't the absence of a voice. It's the moment when truth begins to speak in a frequency only your soul can hear. Do you feel it? That strange stillness surrounding you, as if everything has paused, yet inside, a quiet storm stirs, half wanting to trust, half afraid to be wrong. That's the energy of this November, when the Sun trines Neptune and Mercury squares Saturn, creating tension between emotion and logic, between what you feel and what you think you know. Mercury, your ruling planet, is testing how you use your intellect. No longer through surface conversations or scattered thoughts, but through a journey toward authenticity in perception. Meanwhile, the Sun and Neptune whisper. Truth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's wrapped in ambiguity seen only by those who are still enough to notice. Maybe you feel disoriented. The things that once felt certain now blur. People you were once close to seem distant. You begin to wonder, is something wrong with me? But Gemini, that isn't wrong, it's recalibration. This confusion isn't chaos, it's calibration. Because to tune into a new frequency, you must stop clinging to the old one. Imagine you're turning the dial on a radio, searching for a clear signal. There's static, distortion, and then suddenly, a faint voice comes through. Soft but hauntingly familiar. You can't explain where it's coming from, but your heart knows, this is my voice. That's your soul. The part you accidentally muted when the world got too loud. This is the awakening frequency. It doesn't arrive to frighten you, but to awaken deeper senses within you. You begin to realize every breakdown carries a message. Confusion doesn't mean you're lost. It means you've stepped beyond the safety of what's familiar. Neptune, planet of dreams and intuition, is merging with the Sun, stirring emotions, memories, and images you thought were long gone. You might find yourself remembering people or moments you thought you'd forgotten, or suddenly feeling your loneliness, your fears, your unspoken truths, more deeply than ever. Don't run from it, that's your soul retuning itself to the frequency of truth. Mercury squaring Saturn can make your mind feel blocked, as if there's an invisible wall between what you think and what you feel. But that wall isn't there to stop you, it's there to teach you patience in listening, to listen until you no longer hear with your ears, but with your heart. Because Gemini isn't just the symbol of communication. You are the bridge between two worlds, logic and soul. Speech and silence, light and shadow. Whenever you feel trapped between those realms, remember you are the bridge, and when you become still enough to feel it, you'll realize every question you carry already holds its answer within. The frequency of November isn't loud or dazzling, but it runs deep. This is the time to stop trying to know everything and start learning to understand. A truth is being revealed not through facts but through feeling, a truth that doesn't arrive to explain, but to set you free. Let this month be the moment you pause, breathe slowly, and tell yourself, I don't need to understand right now. I just need to trust that this silence is teaching me something. Because truth, Gemini, never abandons those who are patient enough to listen. If this resonates with you, if your mind trembles between silence and intuition, leave a comment that says, I'm listening. It's your way of sending a signal to the universe that you're ready to hear. Hit like so this frequency can reach more souls. And subscribe so we can continue this journey together deeper into awareness, where truth no longer hides, but waits to be understood. Because sometimes the answers aren't found in someone else's words. They live in the silence you've always been afraid to face. Part 3. The Cosmic Reveal. Mercury and the Tower of Truth. Gemini, have you ever felt the world change in a single moment? One day, you're walking down the same familiar path, and then something in the air makes you stop. A hunch, a message, a seemingly random conversation that keeps you awake all night. That's not coincidence. That's the signal of Mercury trine Pluto, opening the doorway to the Tower of Truth, where every illusion begins to crack, so the light can pour in. This November, Gemini, you won't just hear the universe calling, you'll see the truth you once tried to avoid. And the truth doesn't arrive gently. It might come through a dream that brings you to tears, a conversation that touches a wound you've never spoken of, or someone's decision that feels like losing something precious. But don't be afraid, Gemini. Every loss during this cycle isn't meant to take from you. It's meant to return you to yourself. When Pluto meets Mercury, your ruling planet, the energy is like a surge of electricity running through your mind. It lights up every hidden corner you've ignored. You begin to see clearly who's real and who's wearing a mask. You feel the unspoken truths in people's words, their eyes, their silence, and you start to realize sometimes silence isn't peace. It's the moment before the lightning strikes. That's the essence of the tower. When the tower falls, don't panic, it's not collapsing to destroy, but to liberate. You may feel disoriented, like the ground beneath you has disappeared. But what's crumbling are only the parts of you built on fear, control, and quiet compromises you no longer need. After the tower, the Ace of Swords rises the Sword of Truth. Radiant, sharp, and pure. It doesn't cut to wound, it severs the cords that have bound your soul for far too long. It's that flash of awakening, the click in your heart when you realize, I haven't been living in my truth for a long time. And in that instant, you're no longer who you were. You may come to see that what you called okay was really endurance. That relationships you thought were unbreakable were held together only by memory. That goals you once chased no longer light you up. These are all signs. The universe doesn't destroy what's right, it dismantles what's expired. You're not breaking down, Gemini. You're breaking open. I-24. You're not falling apart, you're opening wide enough for the light to enter. Watch closely this month. Who's leaving, who's arriving, what's being taken away, and what's being placed back into your hands. All of it is the universe's precise design, helping you see the path that truly belongs to you. When truth appears, you may tremble, but don't turn away. Because what you see, even if it hurts, is what saves you from repeating old cycles in the dark. Pluto never arrives softly. It arrives to rebirth. And Mercury, the soul of Gemini, is fusing with that power to redefine your perception. This is the moment you step out of the old mind and let the voice of your soul lead. You may feel like everything is collapsing, but in truth, you're being completely renewed. Your old tower is breaking so that you can rebuild higher, stronger, freer, and realer than ever before. So when the storm rises, don't run. Stand within it and ask, what lesson is this storm trying to teach me? When you ask calmly, you'll see the light cut through the clouds. That's your Ace of Swords, your revelation, your divine clarity. Gemini, the universe is rewriting your story in truth. And to read the new chapter, you must dare to close the old one. This is not the end, it's the luminous beginning of your soul after touching the depths. If you've ever had that click moment when everything suddenly made sense, leave a comment that says, I felt it. Let the universe know you've recognized its message. Hit like to spread this awakening energy to others standing on the edge between collapse and rebirth. And don't forget to subscribe, because Gemini's journey doesn't end here. Ahead lie deeper layers of energy, waiting to be explored, where truth no longer frightens you, but becomes the force that sets you free. Part 4. The Rebirth of Voice. Mercury in its power. Gemini, have you realized you've been silent for too long? Not because you have nothing to say, but because you've become used to choosing safe words, gentle tones, just enough to avoid hurting anyone except yourself. But this November, as Mercury moves through Scorpio, something ancient within you is awakening. Your true voice. Not the voice you use to reply or to prove yourself, but the one born from your soul, where honesty meets courage. Gemini, the sign of communication. Your words have always been bridges. You're the one who makes others feel understood, comforted, illuminated, often with a single sincere sentence. But what no one sees is how much of your own voice you've sacrificed to keep that peace. You've spoken less about what you truly feel. You've stayed quiet when no one understood your perspective. And slowly, you started believing, maybe it's better to keep it all inside. As Mercury, your ruling planet, travels through Scorpio's deep and transformative field, nothing that's been suppressed can stay buried. This is the time when every word you've swallowed begins to rise, demanding release. All the emotions blocked inside you, the stories you never told, the truths you've pressed down, they're asking to be spoken. So they no longer live trapped within your heart. This isn't the time to speak just for the sake of sound. This is the time to speak for healing, because your words are medicine when they come from truth. And Gemini, you are the healer who carries that medicine. When you speak truth, not to win, but to share, your energy becomes radiant. People don't just hear you. They feel you. They don't just listen to your words. They absorb the frequency of your authenticity. Tarot calls this the season of the hermit and the star. The hermit, the one who walks through darkness, not to escape, but to understand. The star, the light that shines after the storm, when the dust clears and truth is finally allowed to glow. When these two appear together, it's a sacred sign. You've walked alone long enough to know the worth of truth, and now, the light of the star within you is ready to shine, not through shouting, but through calm sincerity. Gemini, November is the month your voice is reborn. You no longer speak to please. You no longer stay quiet to keep peace. You speak to illuminate. Your true strength isn't in saying more, it's in saying what matters at the right time. When your heart guides your words, everything you share becomes healing for you and for others. Don't fear being misunderstood anymore. Not everyone has the frequency high enough to hear your soul's tone, but those who need it will. Every word you speak with love and conviction plants a seed of light somewhere in this world, and sometimes a single honest sentence from you can change someone's day or their entire life. Mercury in Scorpio teaches that real power doesn't come from the volume of your voice, but from the depth of your truth. So speak when you feel the tremor, share when your heart opens, and when your voice shakes, know that it's not weakness. It's a sign of life returning. Gemini, this is your season to reclaim your sacred gift of communication. Not to speak for approval, but to free your soul. Not to impress, but to connect. And when you do, you'll realize every word you speak is a small pulse of light, linking you to countless other souls searching for the same things: truth, healing, and resonance. If you can feel this energy awakening inside you, write in the comments, "My voice is returning." Hit like to keep this healing frequency alive, and subscribe so we, the Geminis, can continue tending to the fire of authenticity together. Because your voice isn't just sound, it's the frequency of your soul. And when you let your soul speak, the world will never be the same again. Part 5. The Alignment. When the mind and soul finally agree, Gemini. Every journey reaches a turning point. A moment when the mind stops arguing with the heart, and both finally look in the same direction. This November, that moment has come. On November 25, as the full moon rises in your own sign, its light will illuminate the deepest chambers of your mind, the place where unspoken thoughts, fears, and dreams have quietly waited. This isn't just an astrological event. It's a spiritual ceremony, a moment when the soul and intellect of Gemini finally reunite after a long season of misalignment. Throughout this past month, you've been hearing whispers. You've felt the signals. You've watched towers fall, truths emerge. And finally, you've realized the call you were waiting for from the universe was coming from within you all along. The call you've been waiting for was your own voice all along. It wasn't the voice of an angel, a lover, or a distant sign from the cosmos. It was your soul, steady, gentle, and patient, never leaving, even when you turned away. As the full moon shines upon your sign, the intellect of Mercury merges with the light of the moon. This creates a divine recalibration, where your mind no longer wants to analyze, but to feel. Your heart no longer fears speaking, it's ready to express through love. This is when Gemini no longer lives to explain, but to radiate. Not just to speak truth, but to become its frequency. Have you noticed lately that the outside world no longer pulls you the way it used to? The things that once made you anxious seem to lose their power. The noise, the judgment, the endless debates all start to fade away. Because now, you're hearing something clearer, the true sound of your own energy, not a voice from your mouth, but a vibration through your presence, your eyes, your inner stillness. This is the alignment, when the mind and the soul finally agree, when logic stops fighting emotion, and both bow to truth. In that sacred stillness, you are no longer the one searching for the path. You are the path. This full moon brings freedom, but not the impulsive kind. It's conscious freedom. The freedom to be yourself without needing permission. The freedom to speak what's real, to feel what's real, to love what's real. And the universe wants you to remember, you are not here to echo. You are here to awaken. You weren't born to repeat others' voices, but to awaken sleeping souls through the authenticity of your own. Look back on your journey, Gemini, from the days of self-doubt, to the courage of listening inward, to the moments of surrender. None of it was meaningless. Every single moment has been part of this grand alignment. And now you're standing at the threshold where the version of you you've always dreamed of is stepping forward. You don't need to do much right now. Just breathe, trust, be present. Because when you're truly yourself, the universe rearranges itself to match your frequency. That's how alignment works. Not by chasing the path, but by becoming ready enough for it to reveal itself. Gemini, if your heart is beating faster as you hear this, if you feel warmth spreading through your chest, that's your soul nodding in agreement, because you're ready to return to your true self. I'm ready to be real again. Let this moment be your quiet vow that from now on, you will live not to please, but to shine, to speak truth, to love truth, to live truth, because that's what the universe has always wanted for Gemini, a soul that is honest, free, and endlessly inspiring. If these words resonate with you, leave a comment saying, "I'm ready." Hit like to anchor this awakening energy, and subscribe to continue walking this path with your fellow Geminis. The path where the mind and soul have finally become one, and where you, Gemini, are no longer the seeker, but the bearer of light. Gemini, if you've stayed until the end of this video, then maybe, just maybe, you've heard the very call your soul has been trying to send out all along. This entire November journey, from the faint cosmic signals, the uneasy silence, to the explosion of truth and the rebirth of your authentic voice, isn't just an astrological forecast. It's a roadmap of awakening. The universe is teaching you that sometimes you don't need to understand everything to begin. You just need to take the first step when your heart speaks. You've learned to trust your intuition, to speak your truth without fearing misunderstanding, and most importantly, to live in harmony between mind and soul. This November, Gemini's greatest lesson is this: when you stop trying to control, life starts to unfold. Truth no longer frightens you, because you've realized that every person, every event, every challenge arrives right on time to teach you how to love yourself more deeply. This isn't just a video about astrology. It's a reminder that you are not lost. You are being guided. If you listen closely, everything happening around you is the perfect frequency aligning you with where your soul is meant to be. Practice it in your daily life, by being honest with your feelings, by slowing down when your mind grows too loud, and by trusting that every challenge is simply a chance to realign your vibration with the universe. And when you do, you'll see, peace isn't a destination. It's a state you carry with you in every choice, every breath, every moment you dare to live authentically. If this journey has touched your heart, leave a comment saying, "I'm ready," to affirm that you're ready to step into your next chapter. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with other souls who might need this reminder. Because when you spread light, you're not just helping others, you're helping your own light shine even brighter. And remember, Gemini, you don't need to be perfect, you just need to be real. Because when you live in truth, the universe will always walk beside you. I'll see you in the next video, where Gemini's journey continues to unfold, with even more magic ahead. Keep the light in your heart, and always remember, you are exactly where you need to be.